Coach. Could you talk a little bit about some of the success you guys had last week, and then going into this week's game and the task of stopping their run game?
Okay. Just going back to last week, I thought, we played pretty well throughout most of the game. I thought their quarterback made some nice throws early in the game and really kept some drives going on some third and fourth downs. But I thought, going at half that, hopefully they can't continue to make all these plays. It just felt like they were making them all, and we started making them, started getting more pressure on the quarterback, and controlling first down I thought was important, and getting them behind, getting negative yardage plays, and getting them in more predictable situations, always plays into the defense's hands, and we kind of dictated the tempo of the game in the second half, and we got on a roll, and that was fun to see, and thought our kids executed better as a group, and the front certainly was disruptive, so that always plays a big part of it.
You kind of alluded to it a little bit in that first half. It seemed like UAB had Charlotte had the ball for a long time in that first half, 20 minutes was. And obviously the second half, 31 unanswered points. So is that something you want to see more consistent of in that second half when it comes to this Saturday throughout the whole four quarters?
Yeah, I mean, teams are going to make plays, and it just seemed like they were making them, on some critical third and fourth downs that kept drives going. So, that happens, but, we have not been a fast starting team, and, each game, I think, what teams emphasize, it changes week to week. They're very similar in what they do, but each team defensively is different, and there's usually some wrinkles, some new things. But against Charlotte, our preparation was pretty spot on. So again, it's just getting off to a better start. I always feel like getting off on the first third down is critical to getting your team in rhythm. And they were able to, I think, get that first one and kept their drives going. So, just trying to find a rhythm, find some, where you feel the game, as it's coming at you, and matching the right calls with what they're doing. I think that's always, try to put your players in the best situation possible. And, we were able to do that more consistently maybe in the second half. So, making better calls, getting them players in position for success is always, trying to find rhythm in the game, as when you're calling plays, that's always, a big factor in it.
This week against UTEP, statistically they don't score a ton of points, but do they like to control tempo and control the ball and kind of keep your offense off the field?
Well, I think they play to their, they have a strong defense as well, so they like to, they like to run the ball, they like to manage the clock, and but they're very efficient in what they do. They have some, big play receivers outside, and guy leads the country in yardage, I believe. So, they can push the ball down the field if they want to. So that's, been kind of our Achilles a little bit, is giving up some big plays, and certainly, they'll try to hit some shot plays, and we have to, make sure we're in good position on when they do, vertically throw the ball, and control the run game, up front. So they have a variety of different, looks they like to give you, and certainly, things we've seen up until this point. So again, it's going to be able to, the physical, the team, you have to play physical when you play a team like this, and up front we're going to have to be physical at all levels, of our defense.
Last game, it seemed like your defensive line created a lot of havoc, whether it was negative plays or pressure on the quarterback. Would you say that was they did that the best so far this year?
Yeah, I thought, Hawthorne, Evan, Anderson, and, and Jalen, all those guys did a good job creating negative yardage plays, and that always, again, if you can, a no gain or a lost yardage play on first down really puts your defense in a advantageous position, and certainly, the second half, and in particular, we dialed up, some pressures that were effective, and that was good, and they're effective not only in the passing game, but I thought they were effective in the run game as well. So you're trying to, put your players in, positions to, let their athleticism, let their abilities take over, and we were able to do that more consistently, definitely in the second half.
When it comes to UTEP, it seems like that their run game is really like the prime success for them, and then it opens up the passing game. So what do you want to see from your front seven kind of going into Saturday?
Just playing physical. They're gonna come in and try to pound you, and you gotta match up front, and certainly that'll be a big key. You always feel like whoever runs the ball with the most success, and I think that's what we've done well is played the run the last few weeks, and it's put us again in a more positive position when we've been able to control the run game. It frees up some calls for you, and dial up more pressures, that we can, try to get on the quarterback. So I think, all those things, go hand in hand.
Amon had the big interception and probably played the most snaps he has in any game this year. Was that just a matter of him earning more playing time, or just figuring out the best way to use his abilities?
Well, I think, Amon is playing a much different position than he did at any time in his career here. I mean, he's out in space and covering people, and he's adapted really well. So I'm proud of him being able to move and show that he's not an in-the-box linebacker, that he can go out and cover, out in the field, and he shows his versatility, and Chico's done the same. So they both have played extremely well. That's been a productive position for both players, and that's how we've always looked at it. Both have earned the right to play, and both play at a high level and compete at a very high level. So I'm really proud of the way they've handled it. It's been different for those two, but they've really handled it well, and have kept their heads up, and they we try to split the time as close. But sometimes you go with who's playing well at that time. You don't want to keep moving players in and out. They can never get the feel of the game, and that's been the hard part. Is getting the right time to get both players in and out, and let the other have an opportunity to show what he can do. So there's always a tough position to be in, trying to find that the time to sub when you got two players that we consider both starting type players.
We saw a couple guys kind of go down on the defensive side of the ball, like Moss and Helm, but are they good to go? Or is there any other injuries that maybe that are going to keep them out this Saturday?
I don't know at this point. We're going out on the field today, so Moss didn't very limited practice yesterday, so we'll see what he can do today.
And I do want to ask, sort of like that Caliph had a great game against Charlotte. And what have you seen from him individually that makes him have this kind of success?
Well, I think you're seeing a more natural player. I think as the season progresses, this is new. These guys have been through 4 or 5 coordinators and have played a lot of different styles and learning how everything fits. The linebacker is the most complicated position because of the amount of movements, formation adjustments, the gaps change. So there's a lot of learning that goes involved, and then pass drops as well. So I think he's adjusted well, and it's going to make him a more prototypical linebacker. This is more how you see it, and I think they've learned a lot. I think Coach Thompson's done a great job with those guys, learning where to fit, how the defense works, and I think they're just kind of coming into their own and understanding exactly how the defense runs itself. And I think that just builds confidence. The more repetition, the more times you see things, and I think you see his ability starting to take over and be able to react to things and not think through, everything that goes on. The totality of what they have to do is almost infinite, but you have to teach them rules and principles, and this is how it all applies, and categorize things together. And I think they're starting to be able to categorize, calls together and where by formation where they have to be.
All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Yep. You got your towel all ironed out there?
All right. Try this towel.
Jeff is just me. Caliph, we talked a lot about after the game about your family and that kind of thing. So if you could just concentrate a little bit more on what you saw in the Charlotte game and what made it so much easier for you in that game, and then what you're looking forward to in this week's game.
Really, obviously my family played a big part in it, but I knew after the first drive what type of game it was going to be for me. Typically, I know that after the first drive of every game, if I can come out and make like the first couple tackles or whatnot, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling myself, I got it going. But just going back to my preparation for the week for Charlotte kind of made it easy. Coach pointed out, he gave us pointers, and they did exactly what he said they was going to do, and we just put our preparation into play on that Thursday night. So everything just kind of made it easy. And like Coach Stoops said, we made calls to put us in a position to make big plays, and that's what I did.
Hey, Trent, could you move the mic a little closer?
Sure.
Please.
All right. How about, you talk about, and actually everybody talks about preparation and going to the game, and Coach Taggart will say that Perry spent a lot of time in the Schmidt learning the plays and watching video. How daunting is that to know that you put a lot of time in, you had a great game, and now you got to do it all over again?
It's your job. It's what you sign up for. You can never get tired of it. It's just being consistent with your routine each and every week. I know our coach, we come in, if meet starts at 7:30, we in there at 7:20, 7:15 just to get extra. Specifically our group, linebackers being one of the cores of defense, we have to know what's going on behind us and in front of us. So it's very important to know what's going on in the game plan.
Caliph, you guys threw the East race in Conference USA into a blunder last week by winning, and now there's 4 teams at 2-1. So is it game on now?
It's game on. Every game we approach every game as a playoff game. Every game is 1-0. You gotta win. We control our own destiny now. If we don't lose, we have nothing to worry about.
And being back at home this week, the students this year seem like they've really come out and supported, and you guys go over and sing the fight song in front of them. How much fun does it have to have the students back and to see the kind of support that they're providing for you guys?
It was great. It definitely helps. It was a lot better from last year being in COVID, so couldn't nobody be in the stands. It was kind of like, man, we ain't got no juice, and it's just hard to find energy. But I have to say this year has been one of the greatest environments playing at home since I've been here, and it's just great to see the fans, chanting and hearing the student section go crazy, and it's just a great experience.
And hearing what Coach Stoops had to say about you, saying that the game is becoming more natural to you, you're becoming this prototypical linebacker. Are you seeing that from yourself as well?
I am. I think I'm getting better each and every week. This is not an easy system to learn. To me, I think it's an NFL traditional defensive system. So, like I said, it's a lot from a linebacker position. You have to know what's going on in front of you and behind you, make calls, communicate with the safety, communicate with D-line, set them here, adjust here. We may go to, 3 different play calls and, one play just off alignment and shifts and all type of stuff. So you just got to bring your A game you know, as the season is progressing, I'm just building confidence in myself. The more plays I make.
What do you see as UTEP's style on offense that you're going to have to, you know, take away from that?
The run. Stop the run. They don't do a lot, but they are very good at what they do. Like Coach Stoops said, if we stop the run, I think we'll be fine. Our secondary has to make plays. They have to win their 50-50 balls. And as a defense, we just have to keep doing what we're doing, playing fast, just flying to the ball as a unit.
And what do you think the defense has done way better since sort of week one? Because obviously the run defense was kind of a little bit of shoddy, and then obviously it's become much better. I mean, what have you seen from the defense as a whole that's gotten better?
Stopping the run. That's pretty much if you look back to our early games, Air Force, Florida, we didn't do a great job of, stopping the run. When we stop the run, everything normally goes much smoother for the defense the whole game. And, we always say to win games, we have to stop the run and run the football. So we, as a defense, we try to do our part in that. So.
We talk a lot about Band of Brothers. Last weekend was a game that you got to see two of your brothers show out in Mungeon and Ross. Can you just talk a little bit about the feeling of the game when you see them getting in and getting to do what they want to do?
Yeah, I start with Ross. Ross, he's one of the closest to me on the team. It's amazing to see him just come in and just do that. Him and Chico, they split reps and everything, but it's just amazing for him to, come in and do what he does. And for the defense, we have a mentality that where if a new player comes in, there's no drop-offs, which means the new player that comes in, it should be just as good as the starter or whatever the case may be. And Amon's Ross, him and Chico, both starters of mine. But it was fun to see, especially him giving his ball to his mom. I would have did the same thing, I know it was very special to him, and it was very special to me too, because like I said, he hasn't got the exact playing time that he had last year or the previous years, but it was good to see. And I love Smoke. I love Smoke. I know Coach Joey said on the sideline, I forgot what play he did. He did one play, he just flew in and just gave up his whole body. Smoke is just one of them players where he's just fearless, man. You look at him like, oh, he don't play football, but he's one of the toughest guys on our defense. I love to watch him play, and he's going to be a good player in the coming years.
That's kind of what I was going to ask you. He had like 8 or 9 tackles, but those weren't like downfield. I mean, he was coming up in run support.
Right.
You guys see that on tape, and you get fired up as a defense when you see a guy that's 75.
Definitely gets fired up. I know Coach Taggart definitely gets fired up. He loves when DBs come in the box and make plays, and because it's not hard. Smoke he's a little guy compared to big people on linemen in the box. When you see a corner that can come down and make plays at his size, especially, it's pretty exciting.
It seems like the trend with this team is that it seems like it's one big family. It's a football team. You have a job every week, but again, it's like that relationship that you guys have. It seems very, very prominent. I mean, do you see it that way?
Yes. Like B.O.B. It's not, like I said, it's not a hashtag. It's not just a saying. We really mean that. And one thing we harped on for the last couple of weeks, especially over the bye week, we especially in practice and things, Coach Tag really harped on, just playing for each other more. And, that means, doing our assignments right, doing things we normally wouldn't do in a game, just going all out for each other, just simply, playing for the brother next to me and having his back. When something goes wrong in the game, we pick him up, and then when we do that versus Charlotte, you see what happens. As far as even the guys that doesn't play, giving us energy on the sideline, it all comes into play.
Well, all right. Thank you, sir. Have a good practice.
Oh.
Enjoy the cooler weather.
I will.
I'll start with just a question. Coach, can you talk a little bit about the efficiency of the offense last week? You could see it in Perry's numbers and how well he did, but just with all cylinders clicking.
Well, last game I thought we were really efficient running the ball. You know, and like I said before, when we run the ball well, then it opens up everything else. It opens up our play action game. It opens up our quick touch game. It opens up our quicks. It just opens up everything of our offense. And when we're able to do that, then we are a pretty good offense and a pretty good football team. So we got that going last week. Even though we fumbled on the first drive, we still moved the ball effectively. And that was just one of those games where we were not going to be denied. We were not going to be distracted by anything and just execute at a high level, and we did.
You know, I don't know if you saw the clip of N'Kosi Perry being asked by the CBS crew about how many passes he threw, and he said 23, he really threw 11. I mean, well, kind of an evaluation on him, and he was very effective. He completed 9 of his 11 passes. Got to the right receivers. I mean, what did you think of his performance?
Well, I thought he played well outside of putting the ball on the ground on a couple of our spread option plays. He was real effective. Like I said, we ran the ball well. He was 9 of 11 for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is a very good, efficient football game for a quarterback. So I thought he played well. He played at a high level, and he did and executed what we asked him to do last week, and it was good to see.
Yeah, you talked about those fumbled handoffs and the fumbled snaps. I think there's like 3 or 4 from FAU. Is that something that you're trying to maybe harp on this week of practice? Is handoffs kind of more of a thing now where it's going to be more emphasized this week of practice? Well,
it's more of a technique issue, and it's something that we are addressing, something that we have to get corrected because it's a technique issue on a certain type of run play that we can't have happen because that'll kill your drives. It'll kill games and put you in bad situations, and we can't afford to have that. So it is something that we are addressing, something that we are going to get corrected, and we don't look to see that in the future.
And when it comes to UTEP, you know, you talked about how important the run game is, and UTEP is really good at stopping the run. I mean, when looking at the film when it comes to UTEP's defense, I mean, how are you going to maybe work around the run or maybe kind of doing the run but in these different kind of ways? Well,
I mean, they're stout. They're stout against the run. They are a very good defense. I think they're number 1 in Conference USA. They have a veteran group. You know, they've got I think all 11 guys are redshirt juniors or more or higher, and so that's the experience factor that they have, and they're a good football team. So to run the ball, we're going to have to find ways to try to run the ball effectively to open up some other stuff for us. But the goal every week is to run the ball efficiently on first and second down. We have to be able to do that in order for us to be who we want to be. So it's going to be a good test. It's going to be a good challenge for us, but I think we're going to be up to it.
And when it comes to the run game, I mean, you look at Johnny, he had a great game as well. And is that a position that you want to see him more of, maybe getting more touches, or is it still kind of that committee where you're trying to get Malcolm in and Larry?
Well, we have a good stable of running backs, and we want to make sure that we get the ball to the guys in areas where they can be effective and where they do things well. So I think it'll still be a running back by committee, but we have to be able to get them the ball in places where they can do what they do well.
So, I mean, again, at home, you guys have been great, and, you know, against UTEP, I mean, overall, it's just from the very start of the game, what do you want to see?
Well, we just want to be efficient and effective. You know, we want to make sure that you have a good start, make sure that we come off the ball and make sure that we're aggressive and physical, and just make sure that we can execute our game plan at a high level and be efficient in all that we do.
Good. All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
You're next.
How you doing, Zach? How you doing?
How's it going?
I'm great.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good to know.
How you doing?
Kamaar, if you can just open up a little bit about offensive line performance last week and helping the running game and getting a lot of guys active in your run game.
I would say it's because of the practice that we had. Like our coaches was just really harping on straining and finishing our blocks, staying on blocks, and I just felt like that they took it like personal and just really did it, and like we sustained a lot of blocks and we had a lot of open holes for our backs.
You know, we were talking with Johnny Ford, I think maybe a week or 2 ago, and he absolutely praised you guys saying that he wants you guys to eat, he wants to feed you guys. You know, how's it like having a back like Johnny kind of back there for you so you can block from him?
It makes you like, it's like a, what can I say? It makes you want to. Like, it makes you really want to block them. It makes you really want to do this. It makes you really want to do that. I mean, not saying that just because of the food part, but just in general, like the stuff he says, like we be really harping on that. Like we be saying stuff like, remember what Johnny said, and all this other stuff, and it'll just translate over into the game, like, and we'll just take that with us throughout the season.
You know, I know you've been at FAU for a short amount of time now, but I mean, how does it feel to be kind of part of this team? I mean, coming from a really big school and kind of coming here, I mean, what are you seeing from Taggart and what are you seeing from the rest of the offense?
It's actually what I expected. Actually, probably more than what I expected. So I say it's a good group, man. Like I really enjoy playing here. I really got to meet new teammates that really dedicated to the program. So that's pretty good to always have people like that. And I just feel like that. This is just a good place for me. I mean,
yeah, and when it comes to the offensive line, it seems like you guys have been kind of up and down in these past couple of games. You've been really good. Mm-hmm. How would you sort of evaluate the offensive line as a whole? Do you think there's still some improvements that need to be made?
As a whole, it's always room for improvement. We just need to just keep focusing on straining. That's all we need to just keep focusing on straining, finishing our blocks, staying on blocks, communicating, stuff like that. So I think if we keep doing that, we'll just stay going that way. Not like that.
You talk about how, like, you know, there's always room for improvement. And what about you specifically? Is there something about your game specifically at the position that you play that you feel like yourself, there's a lot more room?
Yeah, there's a lot more room for improvement with me. You mean like Pat, like just in general?
Yeah.
I would say like I just need to focus way more on like just staying dialed in into like what's going on at that moment, like, and adjusting until like if they try to switch it up or if they move around, stuff like that. That's what I need to majorly harp on right now.
And when it comes to UTEP, you have a very physical defensive line, and when it comes to playing a team like that, defensive line like that, I mean, what is kind of the mindset, and what are you telling your teammates? We all tell each other just like to stay low, communicate. Strain, now that, you know what I'm saying, we done got this strain mentality going, like, so just strain, communicate, be where you're supposed to be. If you make a mistake, just go full speed. That's really what we really talk about in our room, for real. And when it comes to UTEP and being, again, a conference foe, do you think it's more determination from the offensive line, just from the team as a whole compared to...
Most definitely, because their defensive line is like the heart of their team, so like we got to go there and take it to him. Like we gotta go in there and move a man off his spot. Like we gotta go in there and just double team these guys up out of there. Like we have to really, if we beat them up front, we'll win the game. Like Coach Johnson and all of them was saying, like it starts with us. Every game, but this game especially.
Right. And
yeah.
One more question, just kind of, how does it feel just blocking for coaching? I mean, having a really good...
It feels amazing. Like before I even got here, like we was cool, like on some just cool and stuff like that. I used to talk to him like way before then, but it's a good feeling, like, you know. And then like when he throw picks, he's not a big type of pouting guy. Like when he gets sacked, he don't be with the pouting. He just be like, y'all pick it up, stuff like that. And that's what you really look for in a quarterback like him. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, sir. Have a good practice.
Thank you.
Enjoy the weather.
Oh, yeah.